Dear friends, from each of us at St Francis Hospice, we'd like to extend a really warm and heartfelt welcome to you for this summer 2021 online remembrance service. My name is Paula Graham. I'm the Hospice's Pastoral Care Team Coordinator and ordained interfaith minister. To each and every person watching, we'd like you to know that this service is made with our most loving intentions for you as we join together to remember those most dear to us. We hope that you can feel a sense of our care and support as we share some time in remembrance of those loved ones who are cared for by St Francis Hospice, either here in the hospice itself or out in the community. It's our wish for you that you find deep comfort from this service, although sadly we aren't gathered together in person. Our prayer is that the love we send to you brings comfort and that you can get a sense of our kindest intentions for you. Today we'll be listening to a variety of speakers who will be reading poems and stories. We'll be listening to some beautiful live music from members of the St Francis Hospice Choir and sharing interfaith prayers. And of course, most importantly of all, we'll be spending time reflecting on our memories of our loved ones. This service is intended for everyone, whatever your story, whatever your religious or spiritual journey. Throughout the service, we'll be using words such as the divine, holy, the creator, sacred or God. We ask you to please accept these words into your heart as general terms. And if you feel you want to do so, of course, replace them with the name of the God of your own understanding, or universal love if you'd like to. Thank you. I'd really like now to introduce you to Sadaf Solangi, Muslim Chaplain at Queen's Hospital. Together we'll begin the remembrance service by lighting a candle to represent the invocation of a divine loving presence. The lighting of this special candle symbolises our invitation for the sacred to be with us now. Some may welcome the God of their own understanding, some may prefer to welcome the presence of love, or simply connect with inner calm. Please just seat yourself comfortably as we offer our opening prayer. Gracious Spirit, divine presence of universal love, make your presence known amongst us. Enfold us in your loving kindness wherever and whenever this service is watched.
Creator, enable us to be brave in our remembering, honest in our sorrow. Grant us hope in the healing of our grief. Hold us in deep peace as we spend this time remembering our loved ones.
A grieving soul, the pathway of the St. Francis Hospice nurses. Families walk in from near and far. They watch their loved ones laugh and cry. But when the day, yes, that day, when they watch their loved ones fall asleep, taking their last breath, they cry and weep. Broken-hearted and wounded they have become, swallowed in the deaths of their loved ones. The comforting arms will wipe away their tears, but some got no one but the towels and the fears. Sadness comes with grief and dilapidates your soul, but life keeps you going, and that will not be an obstacle to control. But some lose hope, some turn to faith, some turn to friends, but at the end, some turn to nurses. Not any, but St. Francis nurses. They are always there to pick up the pace whenever they're at base. The help we provide with the compassionate heart they received with a feeling of comfort like a dart. It feels like a mountain that never ends, to mourn a loved one, to reunite again. But always believe and you will achieve, that the hope you have will expel the grave. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sadaf and I'm the Muslim chaplain from Queen's Hospital and King George Hospital. I would like to share some short poems by Khalil Gibran, the Lebanese poet. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. For life and death are one, even as the river and sea are one. O heart, if one should say to you that the soul perishes like the body, answer that the flower withers but the seed remains. The deeper the sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. And finally, sadness is the wall between two gardens. From these beautiful poems of Khalil, we can see that sadness is a temporary state and will lead to acceptance, eternal love and happiness. Everything happens for a reason. We are hurting inside, but it is a pain that the Creator will change into sweetness. We need to pause and wait. God, the Creator, is making you wait because He knows you are strong enough to take the pain and also the beautiful reward. Thank you.
She could forget him, but her heart would never. my name is Peter. I'm a volunteer bereavement counsellor here at St Francis Hospice. I'm going to be reading Gone From My Sight by Henry van Dyke. I am standing by the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength, and I stand and watch until at last she hangs like a speck of white cloud, just where the sun and sky come down to mingle with each other. Then somehow at my side says, "There she goes." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side, and just as able to bear her load of living freight to the places of destination. Her diminished size is in me, not in her, and just at the moment when someone at my side says, "There she goes," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes."
Hello, my name's Tracie, Brennan. I'm Head of Therapies and Wellbeing here at St Francis Hospice. I've been with the hospice now for 21 years, and the story I'm going to tell you I've heard many times and used many times within my role here. This is a story adapted from the Dragonfly story by Kelly Owen. Once in a little pond in the muddy water under the lily pads, there lived a little water beetle in a community of water beetles. They lived a simple, comfortable life in the pond with their families and friends. Once in a while, sadness would come to the community when one of their fellow beetles would climb the stem of a lily pad and would never be seen again. They knew when this happened that their friend had died and was gone from sight. Then one day, one little water beetle had an irresistible urge to climb the stem. However, she was determined that she would not leave forever. She would come back and tell her friends what she had found at the top. She slowly climbed up the stem, and when she reached the top, she climbed out of the water onto the surface of the lily pad. Wow! The sky was so light and beautiful, and the sun felt so lovely and warm that she really wanted to take a nap. As she slept, her body changed, and when she woke up, she turned into a beautiful blue-tailed dragonfly with broad wings and a slender body designed for flying. So fly she did, and as she soared, she saw the beauty of a whole new world and a more wonderful way of life than she had ever known. The friends and family who had climbed the stem before her were there to greet her. Then she remembered her beetle friends in the water and how they were thinking by now she must be gone forever. She wanted to go back and tell them and explain that she was more alive now than she'd ever been before. Her life had been fulfilled rather than ended. Her new body would not go back down into the water. She could not get back to tell her friends the good news. Then she understood that their time would come, and they too would climb the stem and join her to fly in the sunshine. So she raised her wings and flew off happily into her joyous new life.
So as we absorb the lovely message in the story of the dragonfly, let's spend some moments of reflection together. Quiet reflection can be a moment to connect to the God of your own understanding or where you find peace. It can be a space in which another voice may speak. Reflection is a doorway into remembering all that you love about the person who has died. Not only the aspects of them which are easy to love, but also the aspects which were less easy to love. It's a time to cherish memories and to celebrate their life.
My name's Kathy Baldwin. I work as a clinical nurse specialist at the hospice within the community nursing team, and we support patients and their families at home. And I'm going to share with you this afternoon a poem by Joyce Rupp called Grief and Loss. Companion of the sorrowing, bind your love strongly, fiercely to the memories of my loved one that are stored within me. May they never wear out. When death grows distant, I want to forever honour and cherish the goodness of my loved one's life. Guardian of the grieving, lift up my sad heart. Let me find laughter in the midst of my loss. Let me find hope in the midst of my sadness. Let me find comfort in the midst of my emptiness. Let me find meaning in the midst of my confusion. Let me find you, ever vigilant beloved, as my shelter and my solace sustain my aching heart.
Hello, my name's Sandra and I'm a staff nurse on the inpatient unit, and I've been invited to just read this lovely poem called Wellspring of Love that's been written by Paula. When someone we love dies, the love they have for us continues. We only need to remember them and it's there. We can feel it around us like a warm blanket, bringing comfort and strength. When we find ourselves alone, we may find ourselves. We find that the space may give us a chance to realise that in us there's an enriching wellspring of love. This love was with us all along and will always remain with us. Although loss can be sad, we may also find something phenomenal in solitude. A great inner resource of love within us. And when we invite this river of love to flow through our lives, any parched ground within us which has hardened becomes soft again. We may become aware that there can be healing, growth, colour and enrichment. We may begin to feel peace and feel the lightness of our own being. We may begin to feel strengthened and joyful again.
Don't think of her as gone away, her journey's just begun. Life holds so many facets, this earth is only one. Just think of her as resting from the sorrows and the tears, in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how she must be wishing that we could know today, how nothing but our sadness could really pass away. And think of her as living in the hearts of those she touched, for nothing loved is ever lost, and she was loved so much.
So as we hear our second and final song from the members of the St. Francis Hospice Choir, we'll also be seeing some of the names of loved ones appear on the screen throughout the music. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we near the end of our remembrance service today, let's reflect back on what we've shared. We've listened to words of comfort in poetry, we've shared prayers and contemplated the beautiful message behind the story of the dragonfly. We've listened to the members of our choir sing for us and enjoyed moments of reflection. We'll soon say our closing prayer, which will mark the end of this service today. Before we begin the prayer, I'd like to share a few words with you, beginning with some reflections on a part of a wonderful poem called In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. She wrote, "Every year, everything I've ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones knowing your life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go." I'll say that again. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones knowing your life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. I don't know what that poem sounds like to you, but for me, when she writes that you need to be able to love what is mortal, I feel she's referring to our ability to be vulnerable enough to love someone, knowing that all which is mortal will one day let go of its physical form. Although many of us have known deep in our hearts that we will lose the ones we love, it doesn't deter us from loving them with tenderness. We still care for them in whatever way we are able. It takes courage to love in this changing life regardless of gain, to love unconditionally. Perhaps by saying we need to love what is mortal, she's also reminding us to love our own lives, to sense into the beauty that is here now, as they would want us to. Thinking about the second part, to hold it against your bones, knowing your life depends on it, reminds me of the natural response to care and to give however we're able, knowing that every living creature has come into this world, will also leave this world, like the ebb and flow of the ocean waves. So we are linked together in this shared human experience. We're all part of this offering of care and receiving of care with compassion. Although a person's wave may have gone, we continue to love them and celebrate their memory, as we're doing today in this remembrance service. Lastly, I'd like to share with you just some of the words taken from the very well-known poem Desiderata, written by Max Ehrmann in 1927. And he writes, "Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. Never be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you perceive it to be. And whatever your labours and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your own soul. with all its sham and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Strive to be happy. So we hope that you've felt comforted from this time we've spent together in memory of your loved ones. Divine, loving presence, ensure that those who mourn shall be comforted. We pray now for each of us, bringing before you the sorrow we feel in this moment. In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love.
We pray for ourselves in the grief, pain and loneliness, through the turmoil of emotions which death brings to those left behind.
In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love. Loving presence, we bring before you now our sense of emptiness, separation and sorrow. Give us your support as we struggle to come to terms with our loss. In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love.
Give us strength to face the days ahead. Give us courage to see the light which surrounds us. Give us hope for the future.
In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love. Help us to know that your love continues beyond death, that you are with us in this moment and always. May that knowledge bring comfort and hope today and in the days ahead. In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love. Let us also remember the work of St. Francis Hospice. We pray for the medical, nursing and support staff, our many volunteers and supporters whose work ensures the hospice is able to continue to care for patients and their families alike. In your grace, hear our prayer and comfort us with love. May our loved ones' souls rest in eternal peace. May we keep their memories alive in our own kindness. Although it's time to draw the service to a close and blow out the candle, in our hearts, a candle will always be lit for those we love.